Hello, everyone, to our latest video, our latest opposition view. It's always great to get in touch with Swans Cast Media, friends of the channel. How's things going for you, Luke, this season?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me back on. It's always good to come on. As for the season, maybe could be better. Probably the nicest way to put it. I mean, there's bits and bobs to talk about. I guess we'll get into some of it, but overall, I think if you look at the bigger picture, it's not the end of the world. The league position obviously is alarming, perhaps.
Yeah, not quite the team you were last season. Was that expected? A few years now outside the Premier League, currently 16th. I don't think you're in trouble. But, you still got some good players in your team. But as we spoke off air, very much a better team at home than you are away.
Yeah. To be honest, I think part of the form, you're looking at the home and away. I'm not really sure how connected it is to where we're playing. I've noticed a trend myself, and it's more to do with how many games we play in a week. And I'll take it all the way back to pre-season, where obviously Steve Cooper was there for a while. Bit of drama. Russell Martin comes in a week before season kicks off. The players are just not fit enough. So, especially when like the last couple of weeks now have been constant weekend, midweek, weekend, midweek. Had a break now before this weekend, but generally, if we have 3 games in a week, the ones towards the end, and if there's any more afterwards, the form or the performance levels are just they're not there. So I think 2 recent ones you might be citing Hull and Stoke, prime examples where the game before, especially the Stoke game, we had a win against Blackburn where we had to fight quite hard for that with a man sent off. And then it showed in the midweek against Stoke because they may as well have just not gone. They may as well have just forfeited the game. It was quite bad. But yeah.
So very much inconsistent. I did predict you actually to beat Blackburn. I've predicted for a while that Blackburn are going to have a blip at some point. You were also beating Huddersfield. West Brom's on there. I know that West Brom aren't pulling up trees, but you have beaten West Brom as well. 32 goals this season. In our match preview, which you can check out on the channel, it's a separate video. We talked about your goal scorers in Pyro and also Patterson, but for some reason he wasn't sort of out for you in January, wasn't he? There was some stuff going on there, but January transfer window's gone. He's still a Swansea City player. Tell us a bit about some of those players that can potentially get the job done for you on the night.
Yeah, the Patterson situation was interesting, as you said. Again, that's probably another big contribution to our form in January. It was a very bad month for us, and that didn't help. He came back in the Blackburn game and had the assist, so it just says it all about his quality and what he can offer. Definitely one to watch. He is, however, still getting back up to match fitness because he didn't play for basically a month and a half because of our COVID troubles before January. As in regards to how he is in terms of feeling at the club, all seems okay at the moment, but these things, maybe it'll come back to light in the next transfer window. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. In regards to Perot, he's been a bit of a steal for us, I think. He's done a lot better than we expected. He's only 22, or came in at 22. His first kind of full season as a leading striker in a competitive league. I believe he's on maybe 13 goals now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't checked that
12,
out
I
before coming
think.
on.
12, I
12,
think.
maybe 12. I know he scored in the last game, so I wasn't sure. Perhaps one of them's a cup one I'm referring to. But yeah, he's dangerous from especially outside the box. So I was talking on our last video about some stats, talking about some stats with the person I can't remember who was on with me now. Ollie, it is one of the Swans fans, but he was saying that Perot hasn't necessarily scored poacher-style goals from like a 6-yard box, but is more of a clinical finisher from a little bit further out. He scores a lot from outside the box, which is a bit weird when he's a solo striker leading the line. Obviously, he's worked well so far, but another dimension we've had recently is Obafemi, who's started a lot more games after tricky first half of the season. But he offers a different dimension where he is more of a poacher. He's got a bit of pace. He can get in behind the lines, over the top balls, in behind, where he can get on the end of it and cause different problems. So himself and Perot kind of working together is offering us a threat that we didn't have maybe last time we played against you.
So tell us a bit about Russell Martin then. Bournemouth fans actually like playing against Russell Martin football teams. We had a lot of success against his MK Dons side. Obviously, you're probably not going to want to talk about it much, but we did beat you 4-0 earlier on in the season. Actually, you were pretty decent for the first 20 minutes, but once we scored, the sort of game turned and it ended up being a comfortable day for the Cherries. But how are the Swansea fans taken to Russell Martin and his style?
Depends what week you ask him, I think. After the last result, he's the best person in town. But if you go back midweek when we lost to Stoke, everyone wanted him gone. So we're in that sort of situation where we win and play well. Everyone loves him. We have a bad result. Everyone hates him. It's tricky to gauge where the fan base is. The level-headed ones among us will say it's a project, it's long term, and we can see the signs going forward. He needs a couple more transfer windows to turn around the team for what he needs. Squad is quite thin in places, especially with an injury here or there, and a couple of players that are really not built for the style of play, passing up from the back, being under pressure on the ball, being able to keep hold of it and control it, which I'm sure you would have noticed if you have a look at any goals we conceded and done a bit of homework. But yeah, so for myself, I'm quite happy with the direction we're going. I wasn't necessarily in the camp that wanted Steve Cooper to go. He was quite successful. I know a lot of people weren't happy with his style of football and they asked for change. They've got that now, and that's fine. I'm content with that. All on board with it. But if that is the case, we need to give that time. You can't just say 6 months later, well, it's not working. You ask for a complete overhaul of the style of play. We've got it. So you've got to get behind it, back it, give it a little bit more time than half a season. Because I think if you look at some of the most successful clubs under the managers that have done well, Premier League, Championship, it takes a little bit of time to build up some steam if you're having a massive shift around like this.
So I'm sure Bournemouth will probably be favourites in this game. It seems to happen a lot this season, although we've had bad spells. And, Luke, we've brought this up before when we've chatted before. Bournemouth have a very good record against Swansea. We've not lost in something like 7 games. You've not even scored against us. And I know that one of your colleagues on Swans Cast Media, Lee, he tried to get all over that stat that you hadn't scored against us. But are you feeling more confident going into this midweek game that maybe you can get that goal against Bournemouth for the first time in 7 and get a result?
I wouldn't say I'm feeling confident at all, to be honest. You've got a couple of former Swans players that are quite scary as well. I mean, I don't think Ethan Laird hasn't played for you yet, has he? Am I right in saying?
No. So we spoke to Jordan when we signed Ethan Laird, who's also contributed on Swans Cast Media, and his stats are very good from what I've seen at Swansea. He gave Leif Davis a run around for 20 minutes in that fixture earlier on in the season. But since signing, nearly 8 weeks at the club, I don't know what you did to him when he walked out the exit door, but he can't get fit and he's got an injury. So
Yeah, I
we're
have no
still yet to
idea.
see this
I mean,
player that Swansea fans rave about.
yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, really, especially if he was injured. Why move him? I mean, I didn't know he was injured because we were in a period of not playing. So, I don't know if he got COVID and maybe he's struggling to come back from that because I know a lot of players did. Yeah, who knows what's going on there? But wouldn't surprise me if Woodman comes off the bench, goes up front, and scores a goal against us the way our matches are gone. But in all seriousness, it is time we scored a goal. We are at home. I would say, our goal scoring is not the highest in the league, but our attack, it's not as poor as what it maybe looks like if you look at that column. Last season under Cooper, especially the second half, we were not having as many chances, maybe scoring enough to get by with the likes of Andre Ayew up top and Jamal Lowe. This season, we're definitely creating more. They're not necessarily always clear-cut chances, and we're not necessarily always being as clinical as what we need to be. But as you mentioned earlier against Blackburn, we can be clinical if it's our day. So home again, that's going to be important. You guys, though, I was hoping I would have liked to have played you maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when you were in a little bit of a rut. I see you've won the last 3 in a row now, so maybe you're on the comeback trail, and having this game postponed, you're going to be going into this one fresh. So it's going to be tough for us, especially after a trip up to Sheffield. But I hope they give it all they can, and let's at least get a goal in it, even if the result doesn't go our way. So that stat doesn't come up in the next video.
Do we get a result score prediction out of you though, Luke?
Yeah, I'll give you one. To be honest, I think you're going to have a bit too much for us. I'm going to say 2-1 to you guys, which hopefully, obviously, I'm wrong. But, I'm not going to go and be unrealistic and say things that I'm dreaming about. But I think, you get your second in the league for a reason. You're on the comeback after some bad form. You had that bad cup upset. I think there'll be a lot of questions asked if, especially with the players you guys have signed, if you can't maintain the form to keep you for the top two. I think anyway.
Well, there will unlikely be any Ethan Laird. Woodman hasn't got a chance of shifting Travers at the moment, best goalkeeper in the Championship.
That's a
And
weird signing as well, isn't it?
absolutely, and Jamal Lowe as
Yeah.
well. I mean, he came off and impacted against Blackpool, so likely he'll get some minutes, but an interesting game. Luke, it's been great to have you on this opposition view. Before I let you go, have you got any coverage over on your channel ahead of this game?
I did a video we uploaded today, which we did touch on the game, not that in that much detail. It was a bit at the end where we're just talking ahead because we've got the two games looking forward. Been tricky to fit everything in at the moment. Maybe because this is Tuesday or Wednesday, we might get one out Monday. So keep an eye out. You can check out Swans Cast on YouTube, but I can't guarantee there will be one. It might be afterwards. There'll definitely be something afterwards, but we'll see about before.
Well, Swans Cast details will be in the description below. Check out their channel, go and subscribe, and you might pick off some of the Bournemouth content pre-match and post-match. I'm sure you'll do something, Luke, but we really appreciate you coming on here, and good luck for the rest of the season. We hope the result goes the Bournemouth way, but let's have a good game.
Yeah, so it was a good game. Thanks for having me.
Take care.